If you're trying to be more confident in something, give it longer than you should, because naturally your tendency is going to be to tuck out early because you're not confident yet. Doesn't mean you can't be confident, just it means you haven't gotten to the level where you kind of crossed that chasm. It took roughly 150 podcast episodes before I ever felt quote-unquote confident. If I quit at 149, I would have said I tried, but I just couldn't do it.
Everyone think of what you do for a living. Just picture what you do for a living. You are better at that than me. There's no question. You just do it on the reg. And there's something about mastery in the human condition that everyone makes, from the outside looking in, everything looks easy.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode number 1554, one simple way to know if a habit is worth doing. Today, for episode number 1555, the unsexy part about becoming more confident. Have you ever seen the movie Never Back Down? Have you ever seen that movie?
Mm-mm. Negative.
You've seen Warrior.
Definitely. Great film.
Great film. Warrior is a movie. It's a movie about mixed martial arts, and there's a very deep story to it. I won't give away any spoilers. It's really good. Even if you don't like fighting, it's a really good movie. There's a lot of really good lessons and really good stories in it. But much like other movies that have inspirational, motivational endings and action scenes, and really a distinct difference between the way the character starts the movie and ends the movie, there's usually some sort of, what is it called? A montage when they're working out. Rocky, one of the best examples ever. Rocky is a great movie. They have the best montages of Rocky getting jacked. If you just saw the before and after, you'd say, wow, this person is crushing it. This person is amazing. They went from this to this, or they went from that to that, or they've grown so much, they've evolved so much. And then when you see the montage is a lot of hard work, and it's not very sexy. I mean, if you find the person attractive and they're sweating, maybe it's sexy. But I mean the work, the effort you're putting in, it's not sexy. It's usually fundamentals that kind of suck. So I was thinking from the perspective of confidence the other day. When you see someone who is confident, and maybe this person didn't always identify as someone who is confident, so maybe I'll use myself in this example, you might see them doing something and say, wow, that's awesome. I want that. I want the same thing for me. So when I was thinking of how did I get confident, what was the journey to quote-unquote confidence, it was relatively unsexy. There was not one thing that happened. There was not one day where everything clicked. It really was a bunch of self-improvement fundamentals over time. That was a big thing. Of just, if you want to be more confident, I think confidence is certainty. And one of the best ways in the world to build certainty is to learn about stuff. That's not sexy. It's not a lot of taking action and being out in front of people. It's not a lot of getting short-term results. But I can tell you one of the best things I've ever done for confidence is to learn a bunch. Because now I feel more certain than I used to. That's part one. The other thing is, another unsexy thing about confidence, most of what you do to build confidence will never be seen. And it'll never be rewarded either. It's going to be behind the scenes, you doing things that nobody else knows how challenging they are for you. Now, if you share it with people, maybe you'll get rewarded from the people close to you, and I think that's wonderful. But a lot of it is going to be the behind the scenes, dark nights of the soul, having that conversation of, can I really do this? Do I believe in myself enough? That is really one of the most challenging pieces. So the last thing I want is for someone to think that it is one of those things where one day you wake up and you say, I'm going to get confident. I want to be the most confident version of myself I've ever been. And then 2 days later, that actually happens. I think it takes years and years and years to build real confidence, because it's almost the process of identifying where you're actually at, learning a ton. I think the more certain you are, the more confident you're ultimately going to become. And then it's almost like you're taking the new learning and the new skills and the new awareness and you're bringing it to the real world, and then you're getting results, and then you go back and do the same process over and over and over again. Maybe the result of confidence is a sexy thing, and it's bright and it's shiny and it's awesome. It's something worth celebrating for sure. I would argue that the process of it is just boring fundamental stuff, and I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people aren't as confident as they want to be, because that's the way to do it. And it's monotonous, and it's the same thing, and it takes a long time. It takes saying, okay, I'm going to read or listen to this book, and it doesn't really seem like it's going to help me with confidence. It doesn't have to be a book about confidence. It could be any book that helps you learn. So yeah, unsexy, all of this for the most part, but I think one of the best things that you can do for yourself, and I think it's also one of the most desired things to really have true confidence.
I actually think that people who chase the sexy, shiny stuff end up the least confident internally. And the people who chase the tough, challenging, fundamental stuff actually end up more confident. I was on with Amy, Jerry Ann, and Lizzie on the team, and we were talking about that. We were talking about how sometimes the people who are the most insecure are actually portraying more confidence. And we actually analyzed 3 people that they knew. I said, from the outside looking in, name me 3 people that are 10 out of 10 confident. And in this case, they're pretending to be 10 out of 10 confident. And they named them. I think it was actually 3 names that began with D. They were all men. And then we had the opposite. I said, flip the script. Give me 3 people who you know well, and give me their names, first names only. From the inside out, you know that they have a ton of self-belief. They have a lot of confidence. But from the outside in, they actually don't look that confident. They don't appear that confident. And they gave me those names. I said, isn't that interesting? And then we analyzed the first 3 names. From the outside looking in, 10 out of 10 confident. How much do those people actually believe in themselves? And they said 0, 0, and 2 was the numbers out of 10. 0, 0, and 2. And so if Kevin and I think back to us in high school or us in our early 20s, we probably were portraying what appears to be confidence. If you go to the first episode of this podcast, you can't. I don't know why it got lost in SoundCloud.
Yeah, I think when we used to be hosting with SoundCloud. That's where we started. And then when we switched to another provider, stuff got... the first 5 episodes disappeared for some reason. Which
so
sucks.
We still have 6? The 6?
Yeah, I think it starts with shout out to Dan Garino, episode number 6, I believe.
Episode number 6, Dan G. So you would see us portraying more confidence, but actually less confident internally. And now as we become more and more confident internally, we don't need as much of that portraying of confidence. So it's that weird sort of duality. That said, to your point of this episode, I think we should talk about what is confidence. What does it even feel like to be confident? Because I think confidence is, to your point, Kev, certainty that you can be capable of something. So if my car broke down, I often joke, I would be not confident at all that I could fix it. So if I broke down on the side of the road, I wouldn't be confident whatsoever that I could fix it because I don't know a lot about cars and I don't know how or why it's broken down. Therefore, I don't know how to fix it. But I am confident I can call a mechanic and that I can pay to have it fixed. Or I can call AAA. Okay? So AAA, you're basically paying for a membership to pay for confidence. If I break down, I'm going to be okay. So call AAA. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but if they want to hire me for their marketing.
Also, this episode is not sponsored by AAA.
No, it's
Just
not.
FYI.
It's not. But my question for everyone listening to ask themselves is, where do you feel confident and where do you not? And the areas where you do feel confident, it's most likely something you practice. Something you practice often. So how confident are you can create a valuable podcast episode right now?
2 out of 10. No, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Okay. How confident were you at the beginning?
0 out of 10. No, I won't even say that. That's not fair. Because I was just naive to what I was doing. So I think I had a little bit of confidence that I was just going to have a conversation. And I thought the conversation would be valuable, maybe. So I'd say like 2 out of 10.
Okay. What were you portraying?
Definitely higher. I don't know if I was portraying 10, but I don't know, maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah. What do you think you're portraying now?
I don't know.
Would someone think you're confident if they were listening?
I think so. I get it often when I don't know either. I get it often when I go on other shows. But I always say, again, I've just done this so many times. I've just done this so I just have so many reps. That's the only reason. The only reason I have confidence is because I have certainty. No, and I think there's layers to it. Yes, I am 10 out of 10 certain that I am a good podcast guest. I feel really good about that. But even if something goes wrong, I'm certain that I'm not going to quit. It's not going to affect my self-worth, and if it does, it won't be for a long period of time, and I'm going to get over it and do it again tomorrow. I think that's, and if I get off and the person doesn't jive with me necessarily, yeah, it sucks, for sure. I hate that. Obviously, you've heard me mention that so many times in this podcast. But I think confidence is being confident in who you are and not necessarily needing other people's affirmation or approval. I think that's like the true level of confidence. Not where you don't care what people think. It's you understand that they might think a certain way, but you have a belief in yourself that no matter what they think, you're going to be okay. And it's not delusional. It's balanced, real. Yeah, that really sucks that guy or that person didn't really vibe with me, but I know I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. It's not a big deal.
There's so many layers of confidence. I didn't expect this. But number one is like confidence in who you are. Number two is confidence in your ability to execute against something. So confidence in who you are would be Kevin confident in who he is as a man. And then layer 2 would be Kevin confident in his ability to podcast. And then layer 3 would be Kevin confident in his ability to add value to a listener to where they enjoy it. You know, it's like there's layers of confidence. Yeah. And if those don't line up, you're probably going to be a little bit insecure or challenged or whatever it is. But now let's talk about areas where you are the most confident. So if you're listening or watching this, where are you the most confident? The most certain? The most in control? Usually, it's an area where you have high awareness and high practice. So I've been doing the finances lately for NLU. I feel more confident than I ever have about NLU's financial future. But I'm also in the numbers and the metrics every single day. And so I just, there's certain things that you really shouldn't automate. There's certain things that you should work on daily. And really what it comes down to is this. 2024 is coming up. You're going to hear us talking a lot about that. Where do you want to be more confident in 2024? I did this with clients recently. I did this with Kevin earlier. Where do you want to be more confident in 2024? I really want to go to the gym. I want to be more confident in the gym. I was on the phone with, shout out to Christina. Christina on Saturday. I think it was Saturday. And she said, I want to get a personal trainer. I want to do weight training. And I'm like, okay, how would we get you to be consistent weight training? She said, I got to go to the gym. I said, okay, what's the nearest gym? She said there was like 3 different ones. I think she's choosing Anytime Fitness. I think that's a good idea because Anytime's always open. Anytime. And then she's also going to get a personal trainer as well. Awesome. So by the end of 2024, assuming she follows through on that, Christina, we're not holding you accountable necessarily. You do you, okay? We honor your choices. But if you want accountability, let us know. By the end of 2024, Christina could be way more confident at weight training and fitness and the gym at the end of the year if she practices throughout the year, if she gets a trainer. And I know Christina. Christina will show up for a trainer. She will never miss on someone else's account. So she is very good showing up for others more than self. A lot of our community is like that. Some of us are better at showing up for ourselves. Some of us are better at showing up for others. Make sure you leverage whichever one you are. If you're a member of this community, you're probably better at showing up for others than self. But again, all this comes down to is figure out where you're not confident, figure out where you want to be more confident, and then set up 2024 in a way that helps you progress toward that. doing fundamentals, knowing that it is unsexy.
Hi, my name is Tim Melanson, and I have a web development agency called Creative Crew Agency, and I'm also a podcast host of the Working on Rockstar podcast. I met Alan a little over a year ago. He was a guest on my podcast, and we had an epic conversation, and I was just really impressed with his work ethic. And so I decided to jump on board with him, and it's been a little over a year now. My business has grown, but more importantly, I feel much less stressed and much more purposeful with what I'm doing and the direction that I'm going. So I definitely highly recommend Alan. If you're looking for some accountability, if you're looking for some tools, then look him up, take him up on his consultation.
The hardest part about it is you have to do the thing that you're not confident in that you want confidence in to get confidence. That's the hardest part. And I'm sure we've been guilty of this, so I would be a hypocrite if I said it's terrible when you see certain advice that doesn't get to the root of the problem. I'm sure, 100% sure, I've probably given advice that wasn't the best when it comes to building confidence because I probably hadn't learned as much as I needed to learn yet, and I couldn't effectively speak on it. But that is the hardest truth. If you want to become confident in something that you're not currently confident in, you must do it a ton.
Yeah.
It just requires effort. And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of us don't ever get to the point where we have confidence, because that first step is so challenging. It's so challenging. I would assume somebody who was very successful at something had a ton of confidence. But that's because you're seeing them when they're already successful. You're not seeing them in the very beginning of the journey when they might not have had that confidence, or before the first game or the first album or the first coaching call or whatever, the first book, the first speech, the first performance. That's really what I'm starting to connect with the fact that we've done so many episodes. I didn't expect to feel the way I feel now at the beginning. I couldn't have imagined feeling the way I feel now at the beginning, because at the beginning I was afraid to start. Luckily, I had enough inspiration and motivation to get going. But I'm thinking of that more now than ever. The thing that we want is usually the thing that we run from. Because in order to get the thing that we want, we have to go through all the stuff that we don't. And all the stuff that we don't is the fear of rejection and the fear of failure and looking bad and not knowing what we're doing and not having certainty. The only way to get more certainty is to get further into the thing, or research. And go on Google and research. Yeah. That's helpful. But there's not everything you can do that with. If it's a physical activity, sometimes that just takes you getting out there and doing it. I remember I YouTubed how to snowboard before I went snowboarding for the first time.
Nice.
And it helped to a degree, but when I got on the mountain, it was like, I don't know. It's definitely different than I thought it was going to be.
Definitely.
It's definitely different than I thought it was going to be, and it went okay. But I remember I went to Whiteface, which evidently they had one of the Olympics at. It's like next to whatever the one it's upstate New York. So whatever the one they had in upstate New York, however many years ago. Nice. And it's a massive mountain. Mm-hmm. And I remember getting there saying, I don't even know how to get on the lift. I don't even know how to strap into a snowboard. I've never done this before. I don't know how to get on the lift. I don't know how to get off the lift. I'm going to look like an idiot. I have no confidence. I was with one of my girlfriends at the time, and I was like, she knows what she's doing. I'm going to look like an absolute idiot. I might leave here by myself. But it is. Evan Carmichael had something he used to call the boom boom test.
Oh yeah.
It's when you get that heartbeat of boom 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 boom, and you can literally feel it.
Yeah, it's that moment of, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, I don't want to do this.
Yep.
Those are the make or breaks. This last analogy, and I'll let you talk. I am very, very confident when it comes to podcasting. I am far less confident when it comes to speaking on stage. Mm-hmm. So before a podcast episode, I don't get nervous at all. Again, it's just a lot of reps. Before speaking on stage, I am nervous, and I'm sweating, and I have the boom boom test, and there's a moment where I have to make sure I control my breathing, or things are going to go off the rails. I just haven't done it enough times yet. That's all it is. I've just done this way more. That's why I'm more confident. if I had done 1,500 speeches, you got to imagine I'd probably be pretty confident as a speaker.
Of course.
But how do you get through the muddiest of times, the first 50 or the first 10 or the first 5 or whatever it is? That's where it's make or break. Because if you don't get through that, maybe you convince yourself, I can't be confident, this isn't working, when in reality, you just haven't done it for long enough yet.
You know, whether it's you going back to jiu-jitsu or playing basketball or it's snowboarding or it's podcasting or it's stepping on stage or it's doing an NLU live in Next Level Nation, you almost kind of have to have this mentality. Two things. One, if you believe anything is supposed to be easy, I just think you're in trouble. I do. I think you're in trouble because you're setting yourself up. If your expectation is that tennis is easy, I'm telling you, you are going to get wrecked. It's not easy. Dude, have you ever played tennis?
Yeah, it's incredibly humbling.
Yeah, man.
It doesn't make any sense.
It is brutal.
You feel like you could just hit it in a straight line over the net, but I'm firing it out of the court.
Looks easy. Yeah, looks really, everything looks so easy. Golf is another one. You can make golf look so easy. And even if I were to golf with you, and I'm not great, but I'm decent for a beginner, I also took lessons as a kid. No one knows that.
When's the last time you golfed, though?
It's been a minute.
You think you still have it?
I would not be good. But the point is that the people who you see that are good, okay, snowboard. I haven't snowboarded in 3 or 4 years, but I grew up, I was on the mountain at 4 years old. I've snowboarded for decades, okay? If you saw me on a snowboard and you're a beginner, it's not even going to be remotely close. You're going to have the boom boom. You're going to feel like you're bad at it. You're going to actually think you're bad at it. I remember I snowboarded with one of my friend's older brothers. His name was Stefan, and he was amazing. This dude was doing 540s off of rocks and like through the woods, and we were just kids, so we were like, oh my God, you're amazing. But he's also been snowboarding for a decade longer than me at that point. And now I'm doing stuff like that, not now, but like in my mid-20s. He used to be my hero. And you just realize that it's just the compound effect over time. So the point I'm making is whether it's tennis or snowboarding or basketball, it does not matter, podcasting. Kevin and I go on these other shows, these other podcasters, and some of them are new. And you can just kind of tell. It's like, you're great, you got this, I'm here to support you, let's rock. But you can tell. I've done this thousands of times more than you. I can just tell. It's not that I'm inherently better. It's that I've just done this so many more times. So everyone think of what you do for a living. Just picture what you do for a living. You are better at that than me. There's no question. You just do it on the reg. And there's something about mastery in the human condition that everyone makes, from the outside looking in, everything looks easy. From the inside out, it is just really difficult, except for the people that have been doing it for years and years and years and years and years. Whether it's golf or whatever, insert sport, insert anything. And I'll never forget, we had an interview early on. What was his name again? We interviewed him and his girlfriend.
Josh Bryant?
Josh, yes.
Like
Josh
Brian
had
or
one
Bryant?
thing that him and I had a little argument about the value of books.
You like books.
Kev was on his team back then about books. But he said one thing that I adore. I'll never forget it. He said anything on the professional level is ridiculously difficult. I don't care if you're a pro gamer or a pro skateboarder or if you're on a professional level, if you're a professional speaker, you may make it look easy. I am telling you, it is brutal. And whether you're a natural or not, to get professional at anything is just really, 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 really difficult. And so that would be the last thing that I would share. That's my next level nugget is, instead of thinking things are easy just because they look easy, just go into it with tons of humility. Go into tennis being like, I'm probably going to suck, but I'm okay with it. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck, but I'm going to try it anyway. And then if you like it, stick with it. And eventually you will not suck. But I think that people go in thinking, I'm going to be okay at this. It's either, number one, you don't even try because you think you're going to suck. Or number two, you think you're going to be decent and then realize you're not. And then you quit. And both of those are setting you up for failure.
I was going to say, or you think you're going to be really good.
And then you definitely are going to quit.
Yeah, it doesn't go well, and then maybe you quit. Mm-hmm. That's another potential.
If you go in thinking you're going to be good, you're probably in trouble.
There was a there was a new guy at jiu-jitsu this week. I went, so I usually go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I love the weekends. I love going on the weekends. And there was a new guy, and I was with him. And you drill at the beginning. So you learn a move and you drill it with your partner. And my entire goal in that class was to make sure that he felt like he was getting enough reps and he felt supported. Because I know how challenging, that's a make or break class for a lot of people.
Yeah.
If it goes horribly wrong, you might not come back. And when I say horribly wrong, I mean maybe you feel stupid. And I'm telling you, there's something about when somebody shows you something and then you do it. I have moments where it's like I didn't retain any of that. I have no idea where to even start. And it's my gym's amazing, so I'm grateful. There's amazing leadership there. But my coach will come over and he'll say, "Put the leg here. This is the grip. Open your hip." And it can feel. It's really hard to sit in that and say, "I have no idea what I'm doing right now." And this guy probably thinks I'm an idiot. He must think I'm an idiot. But when you do it long enough, you start to understand that is growth.
He doesn't think you're an idiot. He probably thinks you're new. That's
well,
it.
Yeah.
He probably thinks you're fairly new. How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu?
Well, I did it for a few years back in the day, but this is when I was like 18, so I've forgotten everything. So yeah, a month and a half.
Yeah, that's probably what he really thinks.
Well,
he probably really thinks, okay, he's only been doing this a couple months.
Yeah,
All
it
good.
is. It is.
Yeah.
This would be my next level nugget. If you're going to try something, I think the trial period of something is probably a lot longer than you think before you build any level of confidence.
Definitely.
I don't think it's going to happen the first time. It takes time. It just takes a certain amount of time. Now, do I know what that time is? I think it's completely personal, and it depends on what you're doing and your experience and your level of confidence and your level of self-worth. I think it takes so many different things there's so many things that go into it, but give it longer than you think you should.
Mm-hmm.
That's my next level nugget. If you're trying to be more confident in something, give it longer than you should, because naturally your tendency is going to be to tuck out early because you're not confident yet. Doesn't mean you can't be confident, just it means you haven't gotten to the level where you kind of crossed that chasm. It took roughly 150 podcast episodes before I ever felt quote-unquote confident. If I quit at 149, I would have said I tried, but I just couldn't do it. And I try to tell people that all the time. It's probably not going to take you as long as it took me. I don't think.
Probably
I don't
not.
know, right? It took me a long, long time. So that's my next level nugget. All of that I just said.
I think every one of us is either too quick to quit or stays with things too long. I'm the stay with things too long one. I think that's the smaller percentage. But if you're too quick to quit, you're gonna dabble too often, and you're probably a lot better than you think. You just didn't stay long enough to realize it. Stefan, I'll just talk about him. When I was a little kid, he was my hero. He was amazing. One of my heroes. I had many. But when I saw him snowboard, I was so inspired. And then later on in my 20s, I was like, oh my God, I think I'm like that good. But at the time the gap was huge. But here's the kicker. He had been snowboarding for 18 years? How are you going to snowboard for 18 years consistently and then not be pretty awesome? That's what it is. It's time. We get lost in the time. We get lost in how important it is to be consistent. Every success you see that's like really remarkable usually had a decade underneath it at least of practice.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you are looking for a group of amazing humans, people who value self-improvement, they don't think it's weird. I know there's a lot of people that think self-improvement is weird. I definitely did in the beginning too. I don't really get it. I get it now, but I didn't get it at the beginning at all. Our private Facebook group, Next Level Nation, is for you. I know one of the hardest things is to be yourself, and I think that's because a lot of people, unfortunately, don't value what you value. So that is what Next Level Nation is all about. We value growth. We value accountability. We value you being yourself more than anything. So please join if you haven't yet. Link will be in the show notes. We'd love to see you over there.
Emilia has an asset that talks about climbing a mountain in 3 sections. The bottom of the mountain is old world, which is just ordinary persons, places, things, and ideas that you're used to. Not a lot of growth, a lot of nostalgia, a lot of talk about the past. And maybe you feel like you don't fit in there anymore. And so the next leap of faith is into lonely land. Lonely land is when you don't fit in with your past peers, but you also don't fit in with all these amazing Steffens, growth-oriented people. And then the third section, the third level, is the top of the mountain, which is when not only do you fit in, but you're actually in the growth peers and the growth journey. That's why we created group coaching for people in lonely land. So if you've taken the leap of faith away from your old peers into growth, into Next Level Nation, into monthly meetups, into all the different stuff we do at NLU and other communities you're involved with, and you're feeling lonely, that's when people tend to turn back. And so we created group coaching, a team of 10 like-minded individuals to help you get to the new world, which is going to have other successful, holistic, self-improvement, growth-oriented people there where you don't feel in over your head or out of your league. So Group 13 launches January 2nd. It is every other Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link to register will be in the show notes.
I just had a funny thought.
Talk to me.
Not funny, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to have the worst forehead wrinkles because I feel like I'm always looking up at you and making faces. And we talk a lot. And we're very animated. So I feel like I'm going to have really bad forehead wrinkles.
Well, you also wear a hat, so that
does that
creates
affect
more wrinkle. Yeah,
I need a haircut.
because it's holding your forehead down while your eyebrows are up.
What if I pull it up?
Now that'll be good. That'll fix it.
No, straighten it out. I was just thinking about that. So
I forgot the promo code. The promo code is NLU Listener. All
Strong
one word. On the website, it's $97 per month with the promo code for 3 months, and you pay as you play.
I was giving you time to. I knew you forgot it, so I was giving you time.
Thank you for that.
Trying to kind of hold space through my own type of way.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Tomorrow for episode number 1556. It seems like it's going to be a negative week. It's not negative, I promise. Building self-worth can feel gross. Confidence, so self-belief and self-worth, are two of the biggest things. And we've learned that over many moons, I guess, and working with many people. I think community is another big one. But I guess we're going to do self-belief and self-worth for back-to-back episodes. Maybe we'll do a community episode after that. So that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep building confidence. Next Level Nation.